Just what are your thoughts on DiVincenzo and getting to coach him this coming season?
Yeah, I think we all feel great about adding Dante tonight. There's always an excitement in the room when you draft, but I think he was really a guy we felt strongly about. For me personally, to get to coach a competitor like him, that's really probably, I would say, the first characteristic or something you want to look for in players is that competitive spirit, and I think he's an elite competitor. So there's so many things he's just going to do naturally and comes to him without coaching. So those are probably the best guys to have.
I know we talked with John a little bit about the fact that he played in a system where you are doing a lot of things that you like to do, shooting, passing, handling, doing all those things. What does it mean that you're able to get him from a system like that at Villanova?
Yeah, no doubt. You feel like, so much credit to the Villanova program and Coach Jay Wright and his assistants. The way they play, the way they space the court, there's a lot of really good fundamental things that hopefully you'll see us doing and good basketball teams doing. And so there's no doubt I think he's been well coached and prepared, and the skill development, the player development that happens at Villanova is high level. So I think his transition to us and to the NBA, I think we feel like hopefully is maybe he's a step ahead of where some other players may be, but no doubt he's been playing in a really good system with great spacing, a lot of shooting, a lot of things that hopefully will make him feel comfortable and feel familiar to him.
How's this process been for you now? New team, kind of getting acquainted with the city and more people here. What was it like today to just be a part of this process here? Yeah,
it's been a great, really from going through the interview process, but then once you get the jobs, all the things that have to happen. But watching John and his group work, the way they dive into the draft, their process, the way they were inclusive, collaborative, not just with me, but with the assistant coaches and really everybody. I think they've got some young people that they bring into the room, and then they'll make it smaller and smaller, and as more important decisions are made, and just incredibly thorough, great debate, honest conversations. It just, I continue to be impressed by everything, before I got here, since I got here, and especially tonight in the draft process. Really, really good stuff. And, I think they had every scenario covered, all the stuff, that you envision happening. It was done at a really, really high level.
In the limited time we've had with you, it's always defense first. Every time we talk, defense, defense, defense. What do you see with Dante defensively? I know, obviously, offense is kind of what comes to mind with him, but is there any concerns there on the defensive end?
I wouldn't say concerns. I think the positive, that competitiveness comes out. I think defensively he's going to take the challenge. When he came through here for his draft workout and it ended up, being a lot of, visiting with him and talking, he feels like he can guard multiple positions. He's not afraid to take on a bigger player. I think his self-awareness of being more solid and fundamental at this level, he knows how important. If he wants to get on the court as a first-year player, he's going to have to be good defensively. It's a big part of what I believe in, and we had a great conversation that day, and he wants to impact winning, and I think the earlier a first-year player, a rookie, can learn how important it is to be a good defender. And he certainly is already talking and thinking about that and wanting to know how he can be better defensively. I think his athleticism is a positive. I think all rookies are a little bit behind the curve when it comes to that side of the ball, but he knows how important it is. I think he's totally committed to being good defensively.
Do you think that as a team you guys accomplished everything you set out to do tonight?
Well, I certainly feel like we got the best player available to us, and probably best player, maybe even higher, or if we were drafting higher. So I think that's always usually when you feel great about who you draft, and that you probably would have taken them even higher. And I think the fit, both on the court, his competitiveness, his character, his IQ. I think we took a great step in the right direction tonight, and everybody feels great about it. Now, Dante's got to get to work. We got to get to work. They're working on the summer league now. We're working on how we can continue to get better. But there's no doubt in our minds that adding Dante was a great step tonight.
Obviously, Dante had his pro day, but you mentioned with that visit, it wasn't a lot of working out. It was more talking. In a situation like that, what can you learn from a player where you don't get to see him on the floor quite as much?
Well, you learn about the human a little bit, just, kind of some of the, things away from the basketball court where you can find out what's important to him and, how he's grown up and, who's important in his life. And, you just learn, I think more about the human. And when you talk to Dante and you think about the sacrifices he made as, a guy that came off the bench and now is the 17th pick in the draft, and we went pretty deep on that and his understanding of how important it was for his team. And I think, for me, I shared with him how invaluable that was for his coach to have a player that would sacrifice and be willing to come off the bench, because he knew that gave his team the best chance to win, the best chance to win a championship. And you can sometimes find guys that think on another level that are, maybe a little more advanced and that might be a great fit with your locker room culture, away from the court, and then, of course, on the court too.
Coach John was talking about how important it was to find a player that could make an immediate impact. Do you feel that you've found a guy that can kind of contribute in terms of minutes right away?
Well, draft night is always, that's a big part of it, and I think there's always high expectations, but, everybody has to come in here and earn their opportunity and earn their minutes and earn their ability to impact the team, impact a game, and certainly Dante is going to be given that opportunity to earn it. But there's lots of different paths for first-round picks and for players, and some of them play early and a lot, and some of them it takes longer. So I think Dante and the organization, all of us will figure out, what's best for all of us. But certainly, he has a skill set and can do things that we're excited about, and you feel like whether it's, in the short term or at some point, he's going to be a really good player for Milwaukee for a really long time.
Earlier, John talked about finding a guy who can complement Giannis. You mentioned Dante being that guy who's okay with coming off the bench and taking his minutes when he gets it. Was that really a big selling point, looking at him and saying he's going to share the ball with Giannis? We're not looking for someone to compete. We're looking for someone to build a relationship with.
Yeah, it's been great, being, for me, being on the job 3 or 4 weeks and just understanding, or helping all of us get on the same page with what works with Giannis and what's going to fit best around Giannis. And certainly it's an influence on the draft pick. And, we feel like Dante, his ability to shoot, his ability to make plays and play off the ball, sacrifice, just understand, the team concepts and really just, I think Giannis is the ultimate competitor. All Giannis wants to do is win. And so the more guys we surround him with that have that same mentality, but also a skill set where, great shooting, ball handling, can read the floor, make decisions. I think all of our decisions will be, similar in that, how does this fit with the whole team and in particular with Giannis?
Given that you're still learning your roster and that Dante's only been on your team for a couple of hours now, where do you envision him fitting in terms of starting off the bench, playing shooting guard, other positions? Just where do you see his role on your team?
Yeah, no, a little bit like earlier, everybody has to earn their role. Everybody's going to be given opportunities. There's no doubt he's, probably played more two in college, more of, Brunson was probably playing point guard a lot, but the way they ran their offense, he had lots of opportunities to be a playmaker and play more like a point guard, and I do feel like he's a guy that can probably play both positions, and we're going to expose him to a lot of things, and we're going to learn about Dante, and it's going to be great just to get everybody in the mix, to get our veterans, when we have them going into camp and into September. But Dante will get a chance here with Summer League, and, I think he'd start playing right now if he could. Great. Thank you, guys.